Hey, Chris. I want to talk today about lightning striking twice. I shared with you in the green room. We had a client that went through a second data breach. Well, is it a data breach or not? And, let's talk about what happened, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So, I got a call on Friday night that one of our clients lost $27,000. He spent 3 hours on the phone with the bad guys. He lost money out of an account that had multi-factor authentication turned on. And this is somebody that had a data breach about 6 months ago. His email was compromised. So he was hyper aware of what was going on. So I figured we'd unpack what I learned from that, and we'll see what.
Well, I think first of all, it sucks for him, but I want to hire the person that called him and held him on the phone for 3 hours to do sales for me. Because when you keep somebody's attention for 3 hours and get them to stay on the phone with you for 3 hours, like that's some special skills.
Yeah,
that's a special level of social engineering skills. That's amazing.
Absolutely, because we talk to people on the phone trying to educating them on the cyber risk. The bad guys got right under this guy's skin, kept him engaged for 3 hours, got onto his computer, and got him to give him the multi-factor codes.
Well, they're text-based, right?
They're all text-based codes. So he had to read them off to the bad guys. And maybe we haven't done the best job of educating people on how they should be using these text-based codes, that the codes are for themselves and not to be given away. But he went to the bank. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, because these were all valid transactions as far as the bank's concerned.
That's a rough one. We go back to it though, like, you're so good at social engineering that you got somebody to stay on the phone for 3 hours. You tricked them into giving you the codes. How many other victims are there? To be that good means you've had a lot of practice.
Absolutely.
A lot of practice. And so now we're sitting here wondering, how many other victims are there?
Yeah. And, a lot of, you're right. And a lot of people are like, well, this is just some kids doing stuff or something. These are organized, trained people at this point. And, so I don't know ultimately what's going to happen, but the real message here for everyone is, don't give out the codes. I mean, I got one from Bank of New York the other day, and it actually Bank of New York, that's old, Bank of America, and it actually says right at the beginning of it, do not give out this code in the text messages now.
You ever seen that internet meme where it's like, they used to tell you how to adjust the valves on your engine, now they tell you not to drink the fluid?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that now. It's like the reason that message even exists from Bank of America, because they know people have given those codes out. How many times, how many fraud cases have they dealt with? Or that they finally realized that we need to put this on there. And these are the things that you just don't hear about. You're not going to hear about that in the newspaper. You're going to hear about that online.
No.
You just know.
A lot of times, people are ashamed that they got taken, but, obviously I'm not sharing who it is, but he feels really stupid. And he's like, how did I fall for this How did I fall for this? The first time, okay, yeah, I gave away my password. My password got compromised. Did I give it away? I'm not sure. But this case, he knows for a fact he's the one that gave away his money.
Yeah, and you don't want to. Yeah, and you don't want to. Look, we're human, right? We've all made mistakes. We've all made stupid decisions. We've all made questionable decisions. And for somebody to take money like that from him and convince him to be on the phone for that, like it's a professional. It's a hit job. Just time on his bank account.
Yeah.
And again, we go back, like, how many other people have been defrauded by these same people, the same group? So, because he works with other people. This is not probably a solo person. This is probably a person working for an actual crime gang or something like that. And they're go through training courses and scripts, and they've practiced and all that.
I mean, I don't know that I don't know this for a fact. There's no way that I can really verify it, but was he a repeat attack because he was attacked before and people knew what bank he had? It's possible.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that for a fact, but it's definitely something to think about because we've already seen that once someone pays a ransom, they show up on the frequent buyer list.
I don't want to make this about age, but I'm assuming this person is a little bit older.
A little.
Okay. Well, because crime, like especially phone crime, really targets older people. Those are the ones that are most successful, are the ones that are targeting older people. Like you look at the statistics about it, and I don't have anything in front of me right now.
There was definitely, he definitely had a level of trust with this thing coming in because, it goes back to him. I don't know if he's quite of the age where, you never question someone of authority. Like I know my wife's mother was like, well, if the doctor said it, it's got to be true.
Well, now we want the opposite. If the doctor said it, people are like, no, it's not true. It's like, well, hold up. Like,
yeah, let's Google it.
Yeah. Well, let's WebMD my symptoms. Which, but to the point though, is they knew his bank. So when they called and they said they were from his bank, one, that got trust right away. Because he's like, okay, well, they're calling me. They said they're from my bank. Did he say whether the caller ID came up as
I didn't get that deep with them.
Bank too? Because I'm wondering if they faked the caller ID. I'm guessing with how professional they were with the script, they probably faked the caller ID too. So they probably had this guy owned to the T. Like, look, it probably said the bank on the phone. So he's like, okay. They announced themselves as the bank. He's like, okay. And they started answering him questions.
Mm-hmm.
He just trusted them. It sucks, man. $27K.
And the other thing is, people need to really realize the bank doesn't need to use your computer to see your accounts, and that's what happened here. He let them in. The bank. He let the bank. Yeah, right. So I think the real moral of the story for this week is, MFA is not infallible, and social engineering can break a lot of security that's in place. You got to think.
If you want to extrapolate on that for just a second, Microsoft has a thing right now where they're stealing MFA codes because people are going to phishing sites and they're stealing tokens. And it's the same thing. It's a social engineering attack. Yeah. So humans make mistakes. So, unfortunately, we can protect humans to a certain level with certain technologies, but at some point there's going to be something that allows somebody in. And in this case with the bank situation, I mean, there's nobody there to protect him once he's on the phone. He's got to protect himself. If it's something like an email system, we could have multiple layers of protection, things like that. But for a phone call about a bank, it's on you, unfortunately.
I'm really surprised that I didn't get a phone call in the middle of that phone call that something was going on.
People be like, hang up the phone right now. What are you doing? Unplug your Ethernet cable. Do whatever you got to get them off your system.
Well, I actually got caught into one of those years ago when my son was away at college. We got a phone. His grandparents got a phone call that he was in jail for a DUI.
Oh,
it was all fake, but they had it going round and round. My mom called me and goes, "Bob, we have a problem." I'm like, "No, Sean's at work or school. Hang up the phone." But they were convinced that it was Sean, and they were convinced that it was him, and
it's public information. He's your son.
Yeah, right.
So it's too late now, but
they were convinced it was him, and they were no longer talking to him, but they thought his grandfather talked to him, and that was the end of that. I mean, I didn't question it at first, but it was crazy. And again, it comes down to having a good script, and these guys are doing it over and over again. So,
well, they probably didn't use his name either. They probably just said your grandson.
Hi, grandma. They would have called up and said, "Hi, grandma, grandpa," and immediately, "Oh, hi, Sean."
Oh, so they called and they acted like they were Sean. I got you. Okay, and they were trying to get him to wire money. basically.
Yep.
That's a good ruse.
It was.
Because
It
when
was
the
really
answer,
good.
well, when somebody answers and they seem like they're older, you could just say, yeah, that's a good script. It's terrifying, but it's a good script. Huh.
Mm-hmm. No, you can't use it.
I don't think that's a way to
Anyway.
get sales. I don't think calling up a prospect and going, "Hey, Grandpa," is a good idea. I think that might get me in trouble. I don't think my Google reviews will reflect well upon that tactic. So
Anyway, guys, if you guys like this, if you've got other cyber questions you'd like answered, comment below in the chat. Chris and I are always looking for things that people want to talk about. Otherwise, you're going to get stories like this of what happened during the week to either one of us.
Yeah.
And
if you want to drop your bank account down below, maybe your MFA code. I'm just kidding, but yeah, ask us questions. We love to share things that happen. I had another.
And we're not sharing things to bash people. We're sharing things to educate people, because people, some people can't believe some of these stories are actually true. And in this case, I got a phone call and it was like, I just lost money again. So, comment below. And if you want to take a look at the link in the description of this for 15 ways to protect your business.
Yeah, and also if you have a story and you've been a victim or something like that, reach out to us. You can DM us. We can tell your story and we'll anonymize it. We won't drop your name like Bob dropped his son's name. We'll make sure that doesn't happen. But we love to share because it does help. It does help people. It does help people understand they're not alone.
And if you want to come on a call and share your story yourself, that's fine too. I've seen some people that were very happy to share it, because I was at one event and the FBI came knocking at the door and told them they were compromised, and he shared that whole story of how it affected the business. So
that's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, until next week.
Yeah. Have a good week.